Canadians are being told not to travel outside of Canada amid the COVID-19 outbreak, and that has left many people scrambling to change their travel plans. To talk about these international flight restrictions, we are joined now by passenger rights advocate Gabor Lukacs. Good morning, Gabor. Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
I'm sure that this affects many of our viewers who are watching this morning. Let's start off with you highlighting for us what rights people have who are trying to cancel or reschedule their trips.
Passengers who do the right thing and stay at home in this situation should generally be getting a full refund when we are talking about flights within Canada. The first option to get a refund is if the airline had made some change to their itinerary at some point. In that case, under Section 17.2 of the Air Passenger Protection Regulations, the passenger is entitled to opt to a full refund. The second option is if the passenger tries to reach the airline to exercise their right to change their ticket, a right which is existing under some tickets. The ticket is changeable, even if it's non-refundable, but the airline frustrates that and doesn't take the call, doesn't have the resources to take the call. In that case, the passenger can also seek a refund on the basis of breach of contract. The third option is the contractual doctrine of frustration or frustration of contract. It is a situation where the contract cannot be performed due to an unforeseeable circumstance, as parties were not aware when they made the decision to enter into the contract to begin with. And that would apply as a last resort here for passengers who can say to airlines, when we bought this ticket, this was unforeseeable. We cannot fly now. We don't have the ability to fly. You don't have really the ability to transport us to a place where we would be safe. So the contract cannot be performed. Therefore, we have to be put back to the place where we had been before. We get our refund.
Now, it seems like many airlines are trying to issue some sort of temporary measures so that people can have a reduced cancellation fee or eliminating the cancellation fee altogether, but other airlines have not done that. Do you think people in some instances are being forced to choose between their own health and the health of other people versus their money?
Unfortunately, the government has not stepped in yet. And yes, people are forced at this point to choose between their money and the health of themselves and their loved ones and the public. That is irresponsible for the government. What the airlines are doing is also legally questionable, because in this situation, passengers should have the right to get a refund on the contractual doctrine of frustration of contract. So the airlines are trying to mislead people to believe that they are doing them a good favor, that they are offering a goodwill gesture by allowing them to rebook to a future date, while in reality the airline should simply be issuing a full refund, period and full stop.
And you mentioned that governments have not stepped in. What do you think that governments should be doing?
The transport minister under the law can issue a direction to the federal regulator to issue regulations. Some regulations should be issued urgently, requiring airlines to refund in cash all airfares that passengers choose not to take in order to comply with the government advisory not to travel abroad, at least for all international travel. For travel within Canada, it would still be advisable if people stayed at home, but that is, at least at this point, perhaps debatable. For international travel, including travel to the US, it's beyond debate. People should stay at home. People who stay at home and listen to the government should not be penalized for it.
And finally, what advice do you give to passengers then who are in a position where they've got an international trip planned, or if they're just being overly precautious and also canceling interprovincial travel or even travel within their province, what should they do?
First, stay at home, do the right thing, worry about money later. Second, document your attempts to reach the airline. If the airline's call centers are clogged up, if they don't take your call, then the airline may well be in breach of contract, and that puts you in a position to either charge it back on your credit card or possibly just sue the airline in small claims courts for breach of contract. Ultimately, don't be a pushover. Insist on your right to get a full refund and make it clear to the airline that you will be following through with it, and follow through with it. Now that you may be staying at home for various reasons, you may have more time to research the law, to how to take the airline to small claims courts, and it's not as complicated as people think. We are also available in the Air Passenger Rights Canada Facebook group to help people.
All right, that's Air Passenger Rights Advocate Gabor Lukacs joining us this morning with some very helpful advice. Thanks for your insight.
Thank you very much for having me.